All right, so I hit the button.
Sweet. I haven't. Hold on. I have to pull up our
Oh, I
agenda,
already did it.
but I have not seen our agenda.
Oh, hi.
I must go to
Are
it.
you going to talk
Dude, I can't do it.
like Foghorn Leghorn?
I can't do it.
I do declare that I am
No.
also not very good at talking with a southern accent.
This is so bad.
It is so bad.
This is so bad.
So funny enough,
Yeah.
so Thano knows about this, but my D&D character.
Is she supposed to be Southern?
Sometimes when I commit to it,
Yeah.
I do it. I feel like in Dave's campaign, I don't commit to it as much as I should.
Yeah.
I use a different version of Annie in another campaign.
You use the same voice that you use when you say kitty friend. I did not know.
No, that's a different. That's a way different voice. But no, when I commit to the Annie, it's not a good Southern accent.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it's not.
Um,
I had no clue that was supposed to be a Southern accent.
it's a bad, and I think I do have it in my notes.
Yeah,
She speaks with a bad Southern accent,
I see.
so it's meant to be somewhat on purpose. But yeah, no, I do love the main subject of our next podcast, not Knives Out,
Not Knives Out.
Glass Onion.
Glass Onion.
A Knives Out
It's a Knives Out story.
mystery. So before we even talk about this movie,
Yeah.
which by the way, Glass Onion,
Glass
right?
Onion. Yep.
Um, bold choice to leave the Knives Out portion
As a subtitle.
as a subtitle because normally you put like
Knives
what
Out.
the franchise is,
Right.
and then you give like colon and then the new thing.
Yeah.
This does the opposite. You know, you have the Twilight Saga, New Moon,
Well, Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Rogue One. I
A
guess
Star Wars story, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
But it worked.
It works,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's a testament to how good the first movie is.
Yes.
That you see this movie and instantly you just look at a poster and you go, oh fuck,
Yeah.
it's Blanc.
It's Blanc.
Uh,
I think Blanc is the first and maybe last for a while original iconic pop movie character.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like I totally agree with you on that. It's really funny to think about. Right now, we're currently running two mystery franchises.
Orient.
We have the Agatha Christie with
Yeah.
what's his name? Hercule,
I don't know his name, but I think I mentioned it on this podcast before.
something like that.
I
You fucking hate
ate
Agatha
at the
Christie.
no, I don't hate Agatha Christie. I ate at the restaurant where she wrote Murder on the Orient Express, and it was dog shit. And you have the Turkish cuisine to thank for that.
Hercule.
Because where does this movie take place? Greece.
Greece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And-
no one told me before the movie came out. Usually anything in Greece, people are like, oh, no. Look, we're like it history class. We're going to learn about Greece. Let's all look at Thano, which didn't bother me, actually. It made me feel kind of good. No, told me.
Anytime we get to be like, hey, Thano's gonna fucking love this, I go, Thano, look, this is in Greek shit.
Me. I was upset.
So speaking of that, take a look at. Oh, by the way,
Hey,
synopsis time.
fuck your spoiler warning.
Well, no, not yet. Look at the synopsis. Look at the synopsis. What does the synopsis say?
Famed Southern detective Benoit Blanc travels to Greece for his latest case.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
You don't need anything.
Exactly.
There's no mention of tech bros.
No.
There's no mention of rivalries.
Musk, yeah.
There's no mention of Elon Musk.
There's no mention of Hamilton, which is where Leslie Odom Jr. is actually from. That's where I knew him from.
Yes.
Yes.
He was also in something else that I recently saw.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, I recognized him, and it bugged me so much that I was like, I recognized him from something, but I could not like
put your finger on it.
Put my finger on it. And it was not Hamilton. It was.
You're not a Hamilton fan?
Dude, I fucking can't say he was in Murder on the Orient Express.
There you go.
Another mystery movie.
The one we were talking about. Which got us on this specific tangent. Exactly. But back to synopses. I would like to take this point of the show and just give a fuck you to everybody you and I who've been in grad school with, where the professor says, please give a 10 to 15-minute presentation, and you are watching these motherfuckers for 25 to 30 minutes giving their presentation on Zoom.
Yeah.
The audacity of these people.
The lack of respect for time. Hold on, wait, what does this have to do with this?
Because it's a short, sweet, and to the point.
No.
Can be good.
Fair.
Yes.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
I think I recently had an experience. I think I told you about it. We were supposed to have a short 10-minute presentation.
Just recently.
Because we were supposed to have a Zoom meeting for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And this Zoom meeting took 2.5 or more because people talked for 30 minutes.
Shame on them.
them.
I forget, are you a fellow Husky?
Yeah, technically.
Hey.
Yeah, I guess I am.
We're twins. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, Knives Out. Here's the thing I like about this movie a lot. You don't need to have seen the first movie.
It helps.
It helps
in knowing the story structure and the and the Ryan Johnson tropes.
Sure,
Yes.
I think it helps set up the type of like quirky, silly detective that Blanc is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like if you watch the first movie, you learn those things.
Correct.
So in this one, you still get to learn that he's kind of quirky and silly, right?
But it is watchable without having seen the first.
100%. But I think if you haven't seen the first one,
see it.
I mean, first of all, go see it. It's $5 on rental.
Oh, it's not on streaming? Oh, it's not. It's not on the. It's not on the website that specifically bought the rights to these films.
So here's the thing I like about this review. we're gonna talk about this movie. We're gonna be overly positive about this movie, I feel. But we actually get some negatives. And it's not at all with the movie. It's with whatever the fuck Netflix is doing.
And by the way, Netflix is the streaming service that I am rooting for. Because when they hit, they hit. They have the interface that works best for me.
100%.
They just need to stop making bonehead moves.
They
like put fucking Knives Out on Netflix.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Maybe if I was like, oh, well, because Knives Out is in another fucking streaming service.
It's not.
It's not. It's nowhere.
Yeah.
It's fucking nowhere.
And I'm sure there must be a legal reason for that. But if you paid the money.
If you paid like $400 million.
Right.
Why did you not
get them rights?
Get the rights to the first one.
Yeah.
It's so insane to me that.
What even studio?
MRC?
Was the first one?
What the fuck studio is this? Oh, Lionsgate? I guess. Lionsgate is notorious for not having their movies on streaming.
Who owns them? No, Knives Out was on streaming at some point.
It was, but it was through
Prime, I think.
Maybe. But anyway, so the first movie does a good job at setting up like the structure, like you said. There is a central mystery. Clearly, we know it's like it's a standard whodunit, right? But just more fun,
right?
And this time we have a group of friends, led by a weirdly still somewhat charismatic Edward Norton.
Yeah.
But like the dumb charismatic.
When the caricature is more likable than the person that he's parodying.
Yes.
What does that tell you about society?
Yeah.
On this day, Kanye West Day, 2022.
December 1st.
December 1st.
Needs to be signed into holiday as Kanye West
Kanye
Day.
West Day.
But yeah, so he plays Miles Braun, who is He's Elon. He's Elon.
At first I was like, oh, is it Elon or is it Zuck? And then I was like, Elon.
It's Elon.
Yeah.
It's Elon. I like there is a non-spoiler thing or whatever. There is one short scene with a flashback and it's him, but he looks like Steve Jobs. And I fucking lost it. And Katie goes, what the fuck's so funny? Yeah. And I'm like, he looks like Steve Jobs. And I mean, he is overall like an amalgamation of the tech
he's not
industry,
a pure one-to-one allegory.
Exactly.
But he's mostly...
But he is...
Mostly Elon.
I think he is meant to be like representative of like all of them,
Right.
but I think the fact that Elon has just fallen so far off the deep end.
And what luck for this film.
I know
What luck.
it. Like this movie was filmed a while ago,
Yeah.
and the whole Elon losing his shit,
Right.
especially over Twitter, has happened in the last month.
Republicans have eaten so much crow in the last 30 days. It's made me really happy. And I know it's a hollow happiness because I know we as liberals could still be doing so much better than we are.
Oh, 100%.
But at least these people are suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Um, I can't remember how we got into. Oh, the cast,
Yeah.
right? So we have a group of friends. It's a great cast, right? We have Kate Hudson,
Right.
Dave Batista,
Love David Bautista.
Catherine Hahn,
Yeah.
Jessica Henwick, um, obviously Daniel Craig,
Yep. Leslie Odom Jr.
Leslie Odom Jr., Janelle Monáe,
Yes.
who is blowing up right now.
Great in this film.
She's awesome in this,
Yeah.
and I think the thing that not only sets this movie on its cast is like the little one-off cameos in the movie are also really good, like
And random.
and random.
Kareem.
It's Kareem, Natasha Lyonne, and who's the other? There's an old lady
I don't remember.
who's talking to them on a Zoom meeting
Yeah.
while they're while they're playing a game
Among Us.
online. They're playing
Yeah.
Among Us, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a spoiler. It was known that
This would be
the movie deals with Benoit Blanc like kind of going crazy
for COVID.
in lockdown
Yeah.
because he wants to be out there solving mysteries.
He was Bo Burnham, only less of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I like Bo Burnham, and I like that.
and just seeing him in the bathtub
Yeah.
playing Among Us and being bad at it.
And being bamboozled.
I think that's the funniest thing,
Yeah.
which plays fantastically
Yeah.
to the end of this movie. But it's so good. It is similar, like you said, to the original movie. In if you go in expecting to have everything laid out for you
You're
from the
not.
very beginning, you're
Yeah.
not. Don't. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I watched a movie where everything was laid out and you could solve the movie
Right.
in like everything. Something needs to be laid. Something needs to be taken off the table. Otherwise, it's no fun. And while I do agree that part of the mystery is trying to figure out who did
Who
it,
did it?
if that's all you're doing throughout the whole movie,
Been done.
like you're not gonna have fun.
Right.
You're gonna spend time trying to put things together. You're gonna miss important story beats. Just watch the fucking movie and have fun. If you can figure it out, awesome.
And let me die on this hill.
Die on the hill.
Ryan Johnson in this movie is not just subverting expectations for the sake of subverting expectations.
Okay.
As some anti-stands might say. I never felt like this movie
was pulling the rug.
all the time. Which I will say for Last Jedi, which I loved, I think you can make a solid argument that Last Jedi sometimes feels like it's just pulling the rug for the sake of pulling the rug.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that interpretation, but I think that's a fair case. I think that this movie, as it tells you, actually, as it basically tells you with its metaphor, and Ryan Johnson is not subtle. I think
that man is anything but.
I don't say he's like completely on the nose. Like there was never a moment where I bopped your nose in this film, as in other films this year.
When you turn to me and go,
yeah, but the metaphor is pretty heavy-handed. Like,
oh yeah,
it's like here's the center. You can see it. Like you think it's complex, but it's really not, right?
it's not.
And I think figuring out what was going to happen in this movie for me was not complex, and that's not to its detriment. Like the movie's arguing that like X type of people are blank characteristic. I'm not getting into spoilers yet. Are blank characteristic, and it's fucking obvious. So stop, worshiping them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it hits that theme very, very well. So, long story short, no, this isn't like a major subverting expectations fest.
No.
Yeah.
I think everything that happens to this movie, I feel like I'm like, this makes sense within the realm of the universe that's been established in these movies.
Which is impressive for that first one, that it's already kind of set itself up as a genre, like its own subgenre within mystery, right?
Hmm.
You after you've seen the first one, you kind of know what type of story this is going to be. Yeah.
Yes. So fantastic cast, fantastically acted.
Yep.
I love the set design for everything.
Yeah.
Just having the glass onion, right? Seeing it
Mhm.
looks really fucking cool. Like having this mansion on a private
And a
island,
piece of shit, Doc.
on a piece of shit dock, on a Banksy dock. um, it's so good. Like
Yeah.
you feel like this is almost like an un. I mean, obviously it's an unrealistic place, but it's so unrealistic that you go, there's some idiot who's like, I want this.
Well, it does
I
feel,
would pay money for
as
this.
at least one other critic has mentioned, it does feel like a classic globe-trotting movie where you're going to an exotic location. You're going to
Yes.
the island that's owned by the Bond villain, right?
Yes.
And it feels like that type of music would just be playing in the background,
Which is
right?
funny that it's Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I think that just adds to it. This is one of the films where casting just has added so much to these movies. And even in the first one, which I don't want to get too into, but just to see Jamie Lee Curtis act like that and to
It's
see
being
Tony
crazy.
Collette act like
Like a spoiled
that,
brat
right?
almost, right? Yeah.
It's just so fun and double fun for this ensemble in this film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I guess also to like a certain extent, you do get some characters to who are playing like the type, Catherine Hahn is kind of like a no nonsense senator,
Yeah,
but still bossy, like
the characters in this movie I would
lady
say are
boss.
more caricatures than the last one.
Fair.
Yeah.
Um, they do seem more extreme.
Yes.
Yes, I do
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
I think the one who's probably the most at the worst at this is probably Birdie. She
Yeah.
just seems so like outlandish,
Yeah.
but she's playing her. Kate Hudson is playing her in such a way that you're like, man, she's having fun.
Well, it's like Madison
Madison.
from She-Hulk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that Madison. I was
Yeah.
thinking Madison from
Ah.
Zombieland. But yes,
Yeah.
yes, very similar
Yeah.
in the way that these characters are,
Yeah. Over the top, but enjoyable.
but they still feel like they fit with the
Absolutely.
other insanity happening. If she was the one like sticking out like a sore thumb,
Right.
that would ruin it.
Right.
But I think she just fits so well in the story.
But in a world where the man who wrote Gold Digger on this day
Lost his damn mind.
on his day lost his goddamn mind, I think we can suspend disbelief.
God damn. Oh man. All right. All right.
Kanye West Day, everybody.
I lost my train of thought so
Yeah.
hard with that Kanye
Would
West
you
thing.
feel more comfortable? This will get us canceled. Would you feel more comfortable playing Ignition in a karaoke bar? Not a karaoke bar, in a jukebox. Or playing Ignition, R. Kelly's. R.
Oh,
Kelly's
Ignition.
Ignition.
Uh-huh.
Or any song by Kanye. Today.
Oh,
Today.
today
Today.
I would feel worse playing a Kanye song.
Okay, what about a month from now?
I would probably still feel
Worse playing a Kanye song?
because at least R. Kelly's
Well, you
song.
can't at least for R. Kelly, but yeah, it's extreme.
It's
Pause real quick. My mom is
back again. We are back. Tell a
back
friend.
on Kanye West Day. Anyway,
So let's get back. Let's get back to the movie. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Story follows again. Like we said, Benoit, he's going crazy. He gets invited to to an island where a group of friends are getting together for their yearly.
With a box of simple children's puzzles.
Oh man, That's so good. We'll get to that. Um, every friend gets a
A
box. It's a
box.
weird
Yeah.
box with a bunch of puzzles.
Yeah.
They have to solve it, and they get invited to an island
Yeah.
with their rich, quote unquote, friend.
Right.
Right. It's a yearly tradition. They've been doing this since they met each other way
Hmm.
back in college. Apparently, they are supposed to be solving his murder.
Yes.
And I think the implication is when you start the trailers, you think, oh, he is actually murdered
Mm.
in the movie,
Right.
and that's the mystery we're solving.
Right.
But this being Knives Out,
Okay.
shenanigans happen
Yes.
and chaos ensues, right?
Mm.
So I think um, this being a mystery movie, we can't really discuss anything other than obviously what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Characters are great, cinematography is fantastic.
Yeah. 4.5 out
Um,
of 5 for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't think I've graded mine yet on.
How dare you?
Yeah, I got busy that
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Whoops. Um, so, uh,
Sorry, children.
oh no, no, I can't move my phone too much.
Oh, that's different. That's the tale.
um,
That's the tale of a generation.
that's still of a generation. um, but yeah, I haven't rated yet. But anyway, I think let's get into the fuck your spoiler warning.
Yeah.
It is
Fuck your
time.
spoiler
It is
warning.
time. Uh, that line where he's like, I just, got a box and it had some simple children puzzles. I was like, God damn.
They
And
wouldn't have been
and
simple for me.
and Miles's face when he hears that, you can see it. It's like very like so. He just looks so like almost insulted.
Yeah.
It's great, and
Yeah.
he fucking has it coming.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about the main mystery, right? So, like we said, he's supposed to be fake murdered.
Correct.
I thought that maybe he would be real murdered at
No.
first,
Yeah.
but no.
Yeah.
As the movie goes on, you're like, oh no, he's not actually going to be murdered. It's
Exactly.
going to be someone else.
Mm.
Um, did you expect to be
Uh,
duped?
so if you had told me, so hard no, hard. I'm trying to put myself into my brain before it happened. Um, so not what I'm saying. Okay, so I didn't hard expect it to be Duke, but I think that may have been my top choice.
Mhm.
Oh, here's why. Yes. Okay. Because Duke did see whiskey banging Edward Norton
Mhm.
slash Elon Musk. I think that what for me was like, oh, okay, this is where he kind of has to be taken out of the picture
Okay.
because he's just so physically imposing. He has a gun. He also has a gun, right?
Yes.
So there's the murder weapon that someone has access to.
Mhm.
Even though that's not how he died. But
Yes.
yes, I did expect him. I expected him to die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly kind of went in thinking it has to be Edward Norton, even though the movie kind of makes it feel like that would be the obvious choice.
Right.
So
Oh, okay. So going in before seeing the movie,
before seeing the
yes,
movie,
I did think it was going to be Edward Norton.
um,
In the movie, once we got past, I don't know, the first third,
mhm.
I was like, before Duke dies, I was still like, at some point, I was like, okay, Edward Norton's going to live. Someone else is going to die.
And
And
that's where
that's
I
going to
was
be
like,
Duke.
I
Yeah.
obviously don't know who
Yeah. That's
it
where I was like,
would
it's going to be
be.
Duke. But before seeing
Um,
the movie, yes, I thought Edward Norton was
I
going to
thought maybe Catherine Hahn could be someone who gets offed,
die.
but honestly, I was like, I'm not sure. I like the idea of it being Duke,
Yeah.
this like larger than life guy who
Yeah.
goes out through.
He gets a lot of the screen time of like it's mostly Birdie. And I would
Yes,
say Duke, I think, gets the second most screen
yeah,
time of the bunch. Of the shitheads.
of the shitheads.
Yeah.
I think right away I kind of discounted Peg as a possible suspect because I was like, she has not been in this
And she's sidelined.
She's
She's
sidelined
not an official shithead.
hard. Hmm?
And she's not an official shithead.
She's not an official shithead. She's a
Yeah,
shithead by association.
correct.
And I also feel like Whiskey is on that same boat.
Yes.
So when I was like, oh, maybe Whiskey, I was like, no, she's
Yeah.
not in it enough. It really is that core friend group,
Right.
right? Um, I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about whether we thought Dave Bautista was going to die.
Yeah, but I was gonna go with
Yeah.
somewhere, and I don't know. I don't
Well, anyway, so
know.
there's the game, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the main game, right?
Um, so he's faking his own death. It's a classic, it's that classic game that he says everybody plays, where it's the fake murder. And kind of, I thought so. I was expecting that one obviously wasn't going to be the main plot thread because it's a Knives Out movie. And then, as the movie's showing that Benoit Blanc thinks this is all child's play, I'm like, okay, he's going to solve it right away, and he does, and it's beautiful. He does.
I I kind of remember what I was gonna say
Yeah.
about it. Like the thing that I thought was kind of like a twisty twist
Uh-huh.
was that Benoit Blanc had not been actually invited
Correct.
originally.
Yeah, I was
Um,
not seeing that coming.
that's where I was like, oh, I was not expecting that to be the play
Yeah,
because we had been specifically told like he gets invited to this thing.
exactly.
So that was a fun misdirect. But yes, that whole scene where he's like, "So when does the game start?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I mean, the game has already started." He's like, "Oh, wonderful.
Right.
You get
Birdie
killed
did
by
it.
Birdie
Yeah,
with a switch
yeah.
on this," and
And
I
this
like
was
that
the motive.
I like how he walks her through it. He's
Yeah,
like, "Open up your pendant. There's the
yeah,
Ren diamond or whatever,
yeah,
right?"
yeah.
And I love that Birdie's like, "Yes."
Yeah.
She just plays so well into it,
And Elon Musk is pissed.
and he is big mad online.
Yeah.
Which,
And he does it in such a nice, pouty way, right? He's not like he never like explodes,
yes,
right? But you can tell he's mad in the way that a child gets mad when they can't get their toy.
almost expected this to be their one like F bomb for him to be like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But they don't use their one F on this one until way later on in the movie. The thing that I thought was interesting was figuring out now that we have the main mystery,
Mhm.
how does this connect to the grander
Grander
plot,
picture.
the
That's
grander
what
picture, right?
and this is where the film leaves stuff out. But if you especially I think on a rewatch, and then as you're watching, you can still tell that there's pieces of the puzzle that you are missing.
Hmm.
Like the group is hostile to Candy, who we haven't even
Andy,
Andy, excuse me, who we haven't even fully talked about yet. But
yes.
yeah,
So yeah, so we have Candace,
yeah,
who is played by Janelle Monáe. We are introduced to her. We are told that she was a founder of the company that Elon Musk runs.
yeah,
And he cut her out.
right,
Somehow there was a falling out. She got fucked.
yes.
Why is she here?
And he's getting all the street cred.
He's getting all the cred.
And there's so apparently he's invited her every year, and people are surprised when she shows up, and he's surprised when she shows up. And you're like, but why are you that kind of surprised if you're still inviting her? And then when she gets the box at the beginning, she does.
She doesn't open it. She
She
beats the
smashes it.
shit out of it with a hammer.
And at first, like maybe she's just over this child shit. But then you're like, okay, but if she's as smart as him, then she should be able to
Hmm.
like play these games.
And that's the
Yeah,
first inkling that
that's something.
that something's wrong with this
Yeah.
Andy that we're seeing, right? I can't remember. Is she wearing something on her hair in that
In that
scene? Does
scene,
she
she
have her
is.
hair covered?
Yeah, she has her
Okay.
hair covered. And it
Um,
looks dark.
it is
In that blonde.
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The characters like at the beginning when they show up, they're like fake nice to her. but you can see even before we start getting into flashback, you can see that some of them are kind of being like openly overly hostile towards her a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They're being, I don't want to say openly hostile, they're being more passive aggressive.
Yeah, Dave Batista eventually is like hella hostile towards her.
And he does
Yeah,
do it on
purpose.
purpose to some extent.
But then you are like, okay, something, not necessarily something doesn't add up, but you're like, okay, I'm missing. There is a piece of the puzzle that I'm missing, but I'm not 100% sure what that piece of the puzzle
Hmm.
is. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, when you've seen the first movie,
Hmm.
you kind of go in knowing, oh, okay, something important is being left out, something that would make it
Yeah.
too obvious.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think knowing right away that, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
that Andy is actually not Andy.
Yeah.
It's Helen, who is Andy's twin,
Who we don't know exists
who we don't know
until.
exists, right? There
Yeah.
is no mention of her at the beginning. I don't think there's any sort of
No.
picture showing two
No.
girls looking the same.
Yeah.
The characters don't mention anything about a sister
Right.
or whatever. Um, I think, if anything, the only thing that might be a little suspicious is that we don't see Benoit get the box.
Yeah.
Like, there
We're
is
told that it
no. We're told
arrives.
it arrived, that someone's here with a box for him.
There was
That's
that.
it.
There was that point where when you find out that he wasn't invited, um, that I was like, and he shows Elon Musk the invitation.
Hmm.
I was like, why doesn't he right now just ask for everybody's invitation?
Hmm.
And then I don't remember how I made the connection once the rest is revealed. Why he couldn't do that? But I was like, oh,
Why he couldn't? Because he's a fucking
he
idiot.
is a fucking idiot, right?
That's I think
Yeah,
that's I
yeah,
think the short answer. He's a
yeah,
fucking moron.
yeah.
So yeah. So we know that Andy is dead.
Right.
They say she committed suicide. She knows foul plays
Oh,
here,
like her
right?
sister. Yeah,
Her sister would not have done
yeah.
that.
Jadelle Monet knows that someone killed Jadelle Monet.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. And I think if we had known that from the beginning, the obvious choice is it's Miles.
Right.
Miles, at the very least, sent someone to kill her or did it himself,
Yeah.
whatever it may be, right? And I think that is a good reason to not have those scenes and that plot thread
Right.
shown to us at the beginning.
Right.
So if anyone has an issue with that,
Whatever.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Right.
Uh, if you really needed that to solve the mystery, I think you need to read more.
But that's the thing. I mean, mysteries. I could be making a very, very, very wrong statement right now. And granted, I haven't seen the Orient Express movies
Sure.
in full. Um, I feel like it's very hard to pull off straight up mystery.
Yeah, you need something.
You need another layer
Hmm.
because now we're also just so trained to look for clues, like we're looking for Mephisto all the time. And granted, it's different when you're watching a movie in the theater because you can't go on the forums while you're in the theater.
Hmm.
Um, B, I think there's only so many like Rube Goldberg machines that people could come up with, right? And then
Yes.
C, if you think about, I mentioned this to you before we started recording, like a lot of great mysteries are also something else,
Yeah.
right? Um, Harry Potter is a mystery disguised as a fantasy,
Yeah.
right? Um, even like of all the Sherlock adaptations, I think the first two seasons of like the Benedict Cumberbatch show are the most respected, and even those have they have like the added veneer of like, oh, this is hella modern, right?
Yeah.
Associated with them. So in terms of just doing straight up mystery, I feel like it's just very
Yeah.
hard to do, and then make it like
You need
S
something
tier cinema.
engaging. You need
Yeah,
something fun.
yeah.
Especially today. You need to stand out somehow.
Because you like the Orient Express movies.
I actually really do enjoy those.
Yeah,
As bad as the trailers were because they used a lot of Imagine Dragons,
right.
the movies are actually very good. The second one I really liked.
And are they straight up mystery?
for the most part.
Right.
But I mean, it's got some fun to it.
Yeah.
But it is primarily mystery.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'll have to rewatch those with that thought in mind of is this something else disguised
It has a mystery.
as a
Right.
mystery. But to go back to this movie, I I like that. So now we know Miles is involved in this somehow. Something is up, and then Duke drops dead,
Yeah.
and that becomes the new mystery. Not only do we know that someone killed this lady,
Right.
now someone killed Duke.
Well, do we know once Duke is dead that someone killed Janelle Monáe? I don't think so.
We find out right after.
We find out when she gets shot.
We find out, yeah, and that's like 5 minutes later,
Right. Right.
right? Because we have a whole scene, which is a very cool scene.
Yeah.
The lights go out.
Yes, it's part of the game. Yeah.
As yeah, because he's like, oh yeah, at 10 p.m.
Right.
I was gonna have a big speech and blah 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 blah.
That's what was gonna happen.
And that to me, I feel like was one of the first things where I was like, oh, that's definitely wrong.
Right.
Because I think he had said, oh, we're going to start this at 7. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
start your party at 7 and the murder mystery starts at 10,
Yeah.
that's
off.
that's way too much time. Because like my thinking would be the murder mystery would happen at dinner time.
Well, they were gonna play all weekend.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the whole point of the mystery was that it was supposed to happen when they were having drinks at the table,
Yeah.
because that's when the crossbow was aimed at
Was
him
aimed
at
at
the
him.
table.
Right.
If they were going to be doing a great big speech later at night,
Yeah, it doesn't make
it doesn't make sense, right? So that right there is again, if you're paying attention to these things,
you can tell.
you can tell without having the background, right?
It's almost like this movie should be seen in a theater
Yes,
as opposed to streaming.
as opposed to streaming.
Right.
Um, and so then we have um, man, I keep I'm losing like my train of thought. I don't know why.
It's because you're distracted by Kanye West there.
What a crazy day.
Yeah.
What a crazy
We've
day.
recorded two, and not Mickey Mouse recordings. Usually when we double dip, like one is like usually when we double dip, we're doing like a 30-minute movie and then like him.
Yeah.
We're doing two heavy hitters today.
And yeah, and I don't know why I'm having such a hard time like with this one.
You're old like me.
And maybe I am. Let me pull up the synopsis for a second. That might help me.
Famed Southern detective Benoit Blanc travels to Greece for his latest case.
Oh, um, but so yeah, so we have that really cool scene where everything is like the lights are turning off, and the only light that we see
Mm-hmm.
is the lighthouse. When it spins, we see the light, and then we see the people moving.
Right.
And this is where we start to see that maybe it is someone else, right? Or that's how the movie wants us to feel. And then we get a whole bunch of things after we get the reveal that Andy is not Andy.
Yeah.
We get a lot of really fun scenes with Helen.
It's a long flashback.
It is a very long flashback.
And at first, I was kind of disappointed that they were going to reveal the key information through flashback. But that's when I thought the flashback was only going to be, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. But it was. The flashback is effectively. I'm not saying it was a 3-act movie. Maybe it was. But let's pretend it's a 3-act movie.
And most of them are.
The flashback is Act 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everything culminates with him figuring. He basically figures out.
Yeah.
Everything.
Who done it? Right.
Who done it? And that's Act 3, right?
Yeah.
It's a great like section of the movie. If that's Act 2, I think it's a very strong Act 2.
Yeah.
Where you have Blanc and her kind of plotting, like, what are we going to do? How can we make this work?
Well, that's interesting because once it was revealed that Andy and Miles have beef, at first, especially when it looked like she was dead, at first I was like, oh man, we didn't get a lot of characterization for her. We got some, but I was like, I thought she'd be more of a main character.
I feel like that was kind of a spoiler for me when people were like, oh, Janelle Monáe has a great character in this movie.
Yeah.
She's awesome. Like, expect to hear about her at like awards.
Right.
And I'm like, but she
But
died.
she died. She didn't do
She
anything.
dead. So I'm like, oh, so she's
Yeah.
not dead. Okay,
And then you realize, like, oh, okay, here's where the depth of character comes in.
exactly. And I like her quirkiness a lot. I think she is, like you said at the very beginning, is this our Ana de Armas character?
Yeah.
And she is. She's
Yeah.
the outsider. She's the one that's, you know,
Looking in. She's
looking
not the
in.
shithead. Yeah.
She's not the shithead. And besides, obviously, Daniel Craig, the movie is on her shoulders too.
Right. Right.
If she doesn't work, you don't care
The
about the
movie.
mystery, right?
Exactly.
Um, so the fact that she is quirky enough, but still like, you know, very smart
Yeah.
to her own degree, right? She's
Yeah.
not to the same level as
Blah
Benoit
blah.
is, right?
Right.
She can't, but she is like going around and like snooping in her own way,
She's a good
snooping
snooper.
around. She's a
Yeah.
great snooper.
Yeah.
She finds some hella dirt.
She's able to play her role. She finds some hella dirt, like you said. Yeah.
I like the thing where he's like, you need to make sure you keep drinking because you're pretty good
Yeah.
at snooping
I
while
like her
drunk.
courage. She withstands the hot sauce.
The hot sauce to the nose.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Also, his ability to build threat in this movie is so fun.
Go on.
Like hot sauce is a
Oh
threat.
yes.
Just that scene where Birdie's twirling and you know something's about to go down, but you're so
Yes.
distracted that you don't know what. Threat everywhere.
And you
Uh,
also know, and that scene, yeah, you're right. Like the way it's built, there's a lot of moving parts, and also the cuts
yeah.
they start slow, and then the cuts start to speed up, and the
Yeah.
music kind of swells, and then that's when I expected a gunshot at
Right.
first.
Yes.
Right, I
Yes.
expected lights to go out and gunshot.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's not what
but
happened.
that's not what happens.
The fact that you have Chekhov's fuel in the background.
That too. You're expecting something to go down.
Something's gonna explode at some point. The Mona Lisa. You're like, what the fuck is even this?
Yes.
And that's building threat. So it's a very I to comment back at a certain critic who I enjoy, but has a very wrong take of this movie.
Mhm.
He mentioned that the humor in this movie diffuses the tension, and I'm just like, no.
No.
The tension to me never felt like it was being undercut whatsoever.
Mhm.
And also, this humor is not Thor: Love and Thunder.
No, this isn't
Yeah,
lowbrow humor.
exactly.
This is
Even if he's standing next to a butt, right? But it's just,
oh, that was funny.
yeah, it's funny.
That was so fucking
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. It's not highbrow,
I
but
feel like
it's
that's the lowest brow humor in this movie.
yeah, yeah.
But
But it works. But but it's in the context of Elon Musk,
yes.
right? The man who builds flamethrowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think if I have one actual legitimate complaint, I feel like the way the Duke died, the cause of death was, I feel like, too obvious.
That it was an allergy, or
There was
that
it was an allergy.
oh yeah, I had forgotten. So that one I had forgotten about until they revealed it.
Yeah. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, so who's got access to the drinks? I was like, well, it's got to be most likely Miles because he made drinks for everybody.
So did you know it was pineapple?
Yes. At the
Okay.
very beginning, when they're like spraying their mouths,
Yeah.
where we get a really fun cameo of Ethan Hawke just being
Yeah.
he's just
Just there.
just a grunt.
I
He's
didn't
just
realize that
there.
was Ethan Hawke until
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
He is like spraying people in the mouth, and he goes, "Oh, is that pineapple? Because Duke don't play with no pineapple."
Yeah.
And I go, "Oh, that's a little weird." And then I was like,
Well,
"Is
that's
it
the
a
thing.
taste thing?" And then when he died, and he's like choking, I was like, "Oh." I think I looked at you or Katie, and I was like, "Oh, there's pineapple in the drink."
So yeah, you didn't do it to me because I didn't
It was
realize
to Katie.
that the pineapple is the thing I didn't catch until later. But Duke is also the one who uses the word pancaking twice. So
He does
he's a vehicle for a lot of
a lot of the mystery
revelation.
solving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Uh, by the way, fantastic is like such a very precise word.
Buttress.
No, not buttress, but like the whole pancake thing.
Yes,
It stands out.
it does stand out.
Like he could go like, oh, you almost ran me off the road,
Mm.
but it's the fact that pancake is just like, oh yeah, that's like peculiar.
And maybe too obvious in the extent that That to me is when I knew 100% who it was, right? But then I guess some people didn't get it. I don't know. I would have to poll
Well,
America.
but he's not the one who says it.
He's not the one who says it, but he does say, "Oh, that's the car that almost pancaked me."
He
And
does,
then he,
but then the second time that we hear it, it's somebody else dropping that same line.
I thought it was him.
It's not.
Uh,
It's one of the people that go, yeah, that's why Duke was so shaken up. He said that someone almost pancaked him.
oh, so so someone delivers it, but it's third. They they say Duke. They don't say Duke was almost pancaked. They say Duke said he was almost pancaked.
Yes,
Right,
Duke said he was
right,
almost
right.
pancaked
Yeah.
after leaving Andy's
So the
house.
quote is attributed to Duke,
Yeah,
even though
the
he
quote,
didn't.
and
Yeah,
then that's when you go, oh, he's talking about the exact same incident, which is why he used the word
yeah,
pancake
pancake, exactly.
um, in that situation,
Yeah,
which I think like I said, it helps build that mystery without necessarily having that full context right away from the beginning,
right.
because you're having those clues peppered in. Um, I do think that having Andy go into the situation where there's someone who knows for a fact that she's not her, and
Hmm.
they're already willing to kill her. He even points it out.
Yeah,
I think it is kind of dumb to not have her have at least like Kevlar.
and that's what I thought would have saved her. Actually, when once it was revealed that she was alive.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought she's wearing like a suit, like a dress suit,
yeah,
right? A suit jacket and everything. I thought maybe she would have something under it,
right.
but no, she's got her sister's diary in her
Yeah,
pocket. I was like, ah,
I think that's a little dumb.
it is. It's a
Right.
bit tropey, I would say, when
Yes.
you're saved by some random thing in your pocket, whether it's a phone or
Yeah.
whatever.
Although I guess it is kind of funny that Duke carries around a gun, but it's a pussy gun that can't even go through a. I mean, granted, it was glass, but still,
Yeah,
the for that range. I'm not speaking as not a gun
it's
expert
not a gun
whatsoever,
expert.
but like at that range, it should have gone through a fucking
I
diary.
mean, it's a revolver, so
Yeah,
maybe a 355, maybe a 22 if he is carrying a pussy
yeah,
gun, maybe a 22 if he's carrying that. But I mean that maybe would be stopped, but whatever.
yeah.
Not really the point. Um, but I do like that is more or less where he has the revelation that what we're looking for is definitely in the glass onion,
Mhm.
right? And that is, like you said, that is the metaphor of the
That's
movie.
the metaphor.
It's the glass onion. Like, yes, we like to pretend that there's layers, there's
Yeah.
complexity, but no, you can see
Which,
right into it.
if I remember correctly, Knives Out is not necessarily that big of an overarching metaphor in Knives Out. Like you know that everybody has knives out for each other,
Hmm.
but it's not something that's like to the extent that Glass Onion is. Or am I wrong?
No, the knife just comes into play at the end of the movie where she gets stabbed to
Yeah,
prove that he is the one who is trying to kill her,
yeah.
but it's a fake.
So speaking of Knives Out and these characters, one thing that I thought was very, very interesting in this movie, and this is honestly this and another question is what keep me thinking about it. So these characters are more extreme than Knives Out. They're more upper echelon than Knives Out. Like Knives
Yeah,
Out's characters are still one percenters, but they're not like
yeah,
a politician, Elon
hmm,
Musk's chief scientist, right?
yeah,
Top influencer.
hmm,
And yet, Knives Out ends with those characters being total shitheads. Whereas
this one
this
at least
one,
tries a little bit.
they're not fully redeemed,
No,
but they have some redemption. And I was like, that was very interesting, I thought.
hmm,
Because your main villain is Chief One Percenter, you know,
hmm,
and the rest are rungs down, but still in that, top pyramid part of society. And I
yeah,
was like, oh, that is interesting to me.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I do like that a lot. I like the that every character in this does one out.
Yeah.
That's I think that's I think also an interesting. They're not shitheads for the sake of being shitheads.
Hmm.
They're shitheads for self preservation,
Right.
right? The politician, she doesn't want it to come out that she has basically already approved
Yeah.
this whole clean thing, right? That her campaign is being steamrolled by this guy.
Right.
Um, that the sweatshop,
Yeah.
which by the way, what a fucking lol out of me, where Peg goes, please tell me you didn't think
Think that
a
sweatshop.
sweatshop was
That's
where
where
they
they made
made
sweat.
sweatpants. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Um, but then that does lead to kind of like them finally having their out, right?
Mhm.
Which is
You can testify that you saw
you
the
can
napkin.
testify that you saw the napkin, and he is willing to kind of trample you
Right.
by, we know that he killed Duke, which I honestly I do think that would have been a faster turn. It
Hmm.
wasn't until everything blew up that
Yeah.
they were like,
They're still well before they blow. So they're still willing to suck on that golden titty.
which is a great line.
Such a great line. And the other super interesting thing that I find out about this movie is she does give a very impassioned speech. Like
Hmm.
her words should have been enough to convince them that like we
Yeah.
can fuck this guy right now. And they
Mhm.
don't. They're too scared. It's not until she just starts like
Going crazy, just
breaking shit.
breaking shit.
And if you think about it, her breaking shit doesn't even he laughs it off, right? Like
Hmm.
whatever, I can buy other crystal vases. But it's not until they see that and they're like, that looks like it feels good
Hmm.
that they start to turn. And I'm like, that to me is actually very fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we get to the end, because
Yeah.
we have been recording for 50 minutes,
Yeah.
let's talk about the reveal, the realization that Blanc has, where he's like, "Holy shit,
You're stupid.
you're a fucking idiot."
Yeah. Yeah.
Where he's like, I is like the big thing at the end, the loaded gun, the lights can go out
Right.
in a room full of people who want to kill you. You give them a loaded gun,
Yeah.
and he's like, even your one original thing that you did
Was my idea.
was my fucking idea. He's like, it's so stupid how dumb you are.
Hmm.
It's so good. It just hits, and he sounds so mad.
Yeah.
His
And sincere.
and sincere.
Yeah.
His words. He says, "You dim-witted, brainless jackass! You're one murder with any panache at all, and you stole the whole idea from me."
So it's interesting. Part of the clues that he picks up is he has a bunch of malapropisms, right? He misuses words. And
Yeah.
I caught it.
Breath,
I don't
the
remember that,
breathiness, something like that.
but I caught that's the one I caught when he said it. I was like, and by then I think it was established that he was Elon specifically,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, haha, Elon would use a word that's not a real
it's
word.
not a real
I
word.
didn't catch the rest of them, but I
Uh,
was like, oh, the fact that they drew so much attention to that, I think is very, very clever.
yeah,
Very cool, Kanye. One might
very.
say. One might say.
One might say.
Yeah.
But I like that whole revelation of everybody pretends like he is this like untouchable guy who's so smart he will talk you out of your money.
Yeah.
He really is not.
No.
He's just kind of tricked people into thinking he is
Yeah.
untouchable. And once they start to realize that she is fucking up his shit,
Yeah.
and even if it may not fully solve her problems,
Yeah.
it's at least a way to get back at him.
There's no explicit commentary about Andy being black in this movie, right?
No,
Because there is in Knives Out an explicit mention that
that she
Martha's
is, yeah, like
Latina.
Latina.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
The because there is so this is where I was wondering if I was reading too deep into the allegory because I don't know too much of like Elon's story other than I know that the family got their money from like blood diamonds.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if this is playing on that, but if it did, it'd be very sideways. I don't know if he Zuckerberged anybody specifically, but I did know that he whether it was Tesla. Yeah, with Tesla. I know that he was not the original person behind it.
For Tesla? I
Yes.
don't think
I
so.
know that someone laid the groundwork and he kind of like
Yeah.
worked his way in. But still, like someone who took the credit for
Yeah.
people who were doing work around them.
Speaking of which, I found that the quote, his
Please.
dock doesn't float. His wonder fuel is a disaster. His grasp of disruption theory is remedial at best. He didn't design the puzzle boxes. He didn't write the mystery. And voila, it all adds up. The key to this entire case, and it was staring me right in the face. Like everyone in the world, I assumed Miles Braun was a complicated genius. But why? Look at
Why?
look into the clear center of this glass onion. Miles Braun is an idiot. Nobody tried to kill you, you vainglorious buffoon. So good.
Yeah.
Good words.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, I think it's a good, very good movie.
Yeah.
I think the thing that we said, the biggest negative in this movie is the fact that Netflix is kind of doing dumb things with this movie.
Yeah.
It released in theaters for 1 week.
Yes. Which I will say, I don't think we would have had that specific theater experience had it not been on. That was the last day, right?
Yeah.
So we saw it
Tuesday night.
2 days ago.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, that's the most crowd interaction I've seen for a film
On a Tuesday night.
since a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I can't remember how into Top Gun my theater was when I saw it on that day, but that was also on a Friday night. On a Tuesday night, no less. That's the most crowd interaction I've ever seen for a movie.
So we talked about it briefly that night a little bit, and you asked me like, when's the last time you had a movie where you had that much?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. You this is what you're talking about.
And granted, our theater wasn't full.
It wasn't.
We were like half full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I can think of actually was when I saw Terrifier 2,
Oh, really?
because that was a very limited release.
Yeah.
I think it was only playing in like 2 theaters within like a 30-40 mile radius.
Well, that's like a niche audience.
It's an extremely niche audience, like
Yeah.
a super violent
Yeah.
horror movie. And it wasn't full, but everybody who was there was having
A
a
blast.
great time.
Yeah.
People were laughing, people were, joking along with the movie.
Right.
People would say something, people would react to what they say in a positive way. It wasn't like, hey, you shut up.
Yeah.
Right. And it felt like that with this. There were people who would make a comment,
Yeah.
and then we would laugh at the comment, and then people would laugh at the fact that we laughed at the
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah, exactly.
It happened a couple times.
Yeah.
And
So to Netflix's credit, I don't think we would have experienced that had this movie been released for a reasonable length.
no, but I think it's also the fact that it was so limited in its
Right.
1 week.
Well, that's so you're only gonna. I mean, you're gonna get the dedicated people who
Yes.
want to see it last day, but then at the same time, this needs to be appreciated in a theater.
Yes, I think if you watch this movie at home,
Right.
you're gonna have a significantly lesser experience because there are so many more distractions.
Exactly.
You have a phone, you have maybe pets,
Yeah.
maybe you're
People.
making food.
Right.
People are more willing to ask you questions while the
Yeah.
movie's happening. It's just not the best setting for
Yeah. The
mystery,
mystery. Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
The same that I would say for like a big spectacle movie.
Right.
This makes more sense to watch it in a theater where you have less distractions.
Yeah.
I do hope it comes back to theaters at some point.
But how do they even do that?
I don't think they would.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that strikes me as odd. And I wonder if it has something to do with the deal they struck with AMC and Regal,
Mm-hmm.
because they've had movies come out in theaters before.
The other Dave Bautista.
They had the other Dave Bautista movie, and that movie was out in theaters for about a month or two.
Yeah, very limited release.
Very limited. I mean, it was playing
Cinemark.
locally at Cinemark, which
Yeah.
is Cinemark. I was going to say Tinseltown, right? It may have played at Kendall, which is
Goodrich.
Goodrich.
Or used to be, at least.
I think it's like something else now.
Yeah.
something classic theater or something like that.
Yeah, no.
But those are more like smaller cinema branches that don't really care so much about it as like the big chains.
Right.
But this one has to deal with AMC, Regal, Cinemark.
Hmm.
So I wonder if that's what did it.
Yeah.
Um, but man, I really hope that the third movie, which has already been greenlit,
Yep.
um, I really hope that one gets a little bit more love. And the fact that it wasn't even in Dolby.
Yeah.
It
What a
wasn't. It
shame.
wasn't in IMAX. It wasn't in Dolby screen.
What a shame.
What a
I
shame.
had to watch it in poor people's seats.
Not not that it needs it.
No,
It
it doesn't.
stands on its own, but
Yeah.
it's just the prestige of this is the best movie in the
Here's the thing,
best
it's
theater.
good enough. Everybody is apparently tired of like the oligarchy of films, like all the Star Wars, all the Marvel, like everybody's clamoring for, for new IP.
Something original, right? Yes, yes,
Here
it's a
you go.
sequel,
Yeah.
but
But it's not based on a book. It's not, it's not mega franchise. I mean, I don't know how many of these they'll make, but like, it's not like sprawling franchisable yet.
mhm.
Um, so this is what the people should want. And I mean, I haven't met anybody who's disliked the first one
I don't think
or
so
this one.
either.
Yeah.
It's a good question, but
So
yeah, I don't know. Go see it.
go see it.
Very good,
Yeah.
fantastic. You'll
Well,
have a blast.
not go see it. Wait
Well,
until
wait until it comes out.
December 23rd.
Yeah.
In competition with some other stuff.
What else comes out December 23rd?
I don't remember specifically, but things are coming out specifically on that date. Things that I actually wanted to see.
Oh, you mean like big releases, right?
Yeah.
Avatar comes out that day, I think.
On that day, I thought it was gonna be like the 17th.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Uh,
You will love with somebody.
let's see. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe Avatar is coming out that day.
Because I thought that was like the big Christmas
Yeah.
release.
Babylon's coming out on that day.
Babylon too.
Yeah. I want to
Jeez.
dance with somebody.
I wanna dance with
Coming out that
somebody.
day. No, well, I guess Avatar will be out. Yeah. Avatar: The Way of Water.
Avatar: The Way of Water. But yeah, it is looking to be a pretty stacked year by the end of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, on that note, thank you for listening.
Yes.
Um, go. Yeah, you're right. It is the 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So don't go see it.
don't go see it.
Wait. Hold your horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Buttress.
buttress,
Buttress your
buttress your,
buttress your desire to write angry letters.
buttress your desire.
Yeah.
On that note, this has been the Cine-Scoots podcast, and he is Thano.
He's Javier.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.